ACU Chiefs Kingdom. We're back here with a little live podcast for that ass. We all need a little bit of time. We need a little bit of time to bring in the rage that formed. And I didn't just have rage, Steve. We've finally seen it. Patrick Mahomes, our rage that we've had all season has finally been matched by Patrick Mahomes. And he went scorched earth, raging at officials. He had to be held back. He didn't hold back in the press conference. He let them have it. And he finally had some fire in his ass. I'm so tired of everybody just taking the officials, just laying down. It's time they do something, and they did it, Steve. Are you excited for it?
At some point, you got to put your butt cheeks back together and pull your pants up and quit taking it. And they finally freaking did it a little bit. Not that it's going to matter by any means, but at least you see a fire out of these guys for once. I mean, it is getting ridiculous, I have to say. Because Steve, after what we saw last week with the Green Bay Packers and MVS getting absolutely obliterated before the pass got there, no call, and then they want to take an entire win away from you over a foot being across the line an inch. Like, we got problems here, bigger problems than what people think.
The NFL officiating crew has made the NFL a laughing stock. I know there's casuals and clowns and Chief haters that have been crying about the Chiefs get all the calls. They don't understand football, okay? You whine about the Super Bowl, the guy admitted he held. You whine about Sauce Gardner this year. The guy admits he held. He held. It was a penalty. I hope that you like seeing officials in the final minute of a game determine every single outcome, because you're watching it week in, week out, every single game. Dude, Patrick said it today. Can we go to his clip and see what Patrick said today? Because I appreciate fiery Pat stepping up. This is the Patrick Mahomes I want to see.
The flag today was tough. Offensive offsides. It's something that, you as a like I said, elementary school, we talk about. You line up, you point to the ref. You're good, you're not good. If not, they come to you. Hey, we talk. You need to get off the ball more. You need to be on the ball more. You have a discussion. That's the ref's job. You want to have an open discussion so that you can go out there and put the best product you can on the field. And for him to throw that flag, no explanation, no anything. And I saw the picture, and he probably is. Barely offsides. But for him to take the game into his hands over a call like that doesn't affect the play at all, didn't affect anything. It's just tough, man. And like I said, man, that's a Hall of Fame tight end making a Hall of Fame play that won't be shown because we threw a flag for an offensive offsides. And so it takes away from not only this game and this season, but from a legendary career that Travis has had. And that hurts me because I know how hard he works for it.
Steve, Patrick can't be any more right. I said this when it happened. 100%. I raged. I said, look, every clown, Chief hater, and casual in the world is going to say they made the right call. You know what? You can't really argue that because they did make the correct call. But I've played, you've played, anybody that stepped on that field knows that they come to the line, they check to see if they're good, and they do not call the penalty first. They've only done this twice. D Ford and now Kadarius Toney, and it's always against the Chiefs, and they always get us.
They keep it in their pocket. They keep it in their pocket just in case they need to use that as a trump card, and that's exactly what they've done twice. And I knew before this game even started. Can I preface this with the fact that the Chiefs played like complete dog crap in the first
2 weeks in a row,
and the offense still stinks, and they leave the defense hanging nonstop. And I understand that. I understand that the Chiefs did a lot of other things in this game to lose it, especially when the defense got them the ball back with, I think, like 7 minutes left in the game. They could have took the lead there. They go 3 and out. They don't take a minute off the clock.
Nope, they took like 56 seconds off the clock.
I'm not saying that the Chiefs are not at fault for this, because if you've watched our podcast whatsoever, you know that we've been dogging the Chiefs out all year over the poor offensive play. And it was no different today. There were signs of life. But then when there were, guess what? The flags come out. It's just getting ridiculous, man.
Every scoring drive.
Week. Right.
Every time we get in the red zone, they do this.
Every week, every time there's a scoring drive, they call something. They will stifle our drive every time in the red zone. And this week they did it at the most critical time. Last week they had a botched missed call at the most critical time. It's just getting absolutely ridiculous. And I'm glad Mahomes finally let loose a little bit, because I said last week, Mike, I said, if I'm Andy Reid and that's my team and they don't call that PI on MVS right there, what do? I either go out in the middle of the field and get naked and throw a fit, or I'm pulling my team off the field and
we don't want to see that, Steve. We don't want to see Andy getting naked.
Only if I'm Andy. I wouldn't do it myself, but if I was Andy,
we don't want to see naked Andy. That's not what we're wanting.
The point is,
yeah, I get the point, man.
You can't just lay there and take it anymore. Like, it's getting absolutely ridiculous. And the sad part about it is no one else is going to admit it. Casuals, Chiefs haters, they're all going to say you're whining and crying. But we've seen it over and over again for years. The Chiefs get the shaft, and it's blatant right now, and they don't care.
And it's funny because the casuals and the clowns that want to say the Chiefs get all the calls, they didn't watch it for the last 30 years and watch the shaft that we took every week. They just want to point to the Super Bowl, that one play in the Super Bowl. That was a penalty, by the way. They don't want to, they just want to look and see what they want to see. It's the Chiefs effect, the dynasty effect. Everybody is loving watching what they think is the downfall. And it cracks me up that they think that an 8-5 season is the worst that the Chiefs can get. That just shows you how powerful we are.
I will say this, Mike. I thought the Chiefs had some turning points this season. I really have. And it wasn't the case, right?
Right.
I feel it in my gut that they just lit a fire under a good team's ass.
I was going to say that. For the first time today, when I was watching that game, I seen signs. I seen signs of our offense. I seen signs of somebody trying to make a play other than Kelsey. Rashee Rice did it. When Rashee Rice fumbled that ball and then he come back on the next play and he put his head down, but Pat and everybody went to him on the next play and he made that nice play up the sideline. Dude, I'm seeing signs that I didn't see before. And they fired up Petty Pat. Petty Pat is about to unleash hell over the last month of the NFL.
Well, Mike, I think they're seeing exactly what we've been saying. They can't keep a game close. If they have a game close, the refs are going to shaft them. They're going to do it every freaking time. So guess what? Get out there. You dictate your own outcome. Get out there and whoop some ass and quit letting it be close.
Look,
and
they've lost.
That's what Pat knows they got to do now.
Right. They've lost the Arrowhead Invitational. It's gone. They're not getting that this year, I don't think. They're 3 games back, I think, of Baltimore. I think that's over.
Baltimore was basically handed that game on a silver platter with the Rams. Right. I mean, that kind of solidified
the NFL. Look, I'm going to tell you what the NFL wants. The casuals and the clowns and the whiners and the social media mob that have been on the Chiefs since week 1, starting with Jawan Taylor. All the petty crap that was not real, and they made a big deal over it, and they just kept piling on to the Chiefs get all the calls. The Chiefs are the favorites. And the casuals and the haters and the petties, they've all formed together. And the NFL is bending the knee to the mob, and they are putting it to the Chiefs. And you've seen it for 2 straight weeks. In the final minute, you've seen it. And they don't care. They're going to continue to do this, and the Chiefs are now have to get back to look. It's the world versus us. I don't care if Taylor Swift's there and you've got a bunch of Swifties fans. I don't care if we're the best team on the planet, and I don't care if you feel like we're the planet's team. It's the world versus the Chiefs. And you've got to get out of that mindset that people like us now. They don't. They hate our guts, and it's time that we get it. And I see a laughing emoji pops up from Facebook. Thanks for showing and laughing, buddy. I don't know who you are because you're hiding behind your Facebook
here's the
page.
Thing about it. It's like eventually you have to be truthful with yourself. At some point, like we've been dogging this team all year because the offense outright stinks. And they stunk most of the time today. It's just a fact of the matter. Brett Veach dropped the ball bigger than crap. He let Patrick Mahomes down 100%. You cannot argue with me about that. That is true.
1000%.
But what else is true is the refs are dictating the endings of these games. Like, straight up, I understand like the Chiefs suck and they shouldn't be in these situations. But at the same time, you still can't hand the other team the game just because, hey, they should have played better earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, it's like this is becoming BS. And like I said, man, they have to have the mentality. We got to go out and beat this team's ass and put it on them, because if it's close, we know what they're going to do to us.
Look, was that a penalty on Kadarius Toney? In the most technical sense, yes, by probably 2 inches.
Maybe 2
But
inches.
I'm with Mahomes. That did not directly affect that play. You are supposed to come over and you are supposed to have a dialogue about that and be like, you're a little bit offsides on this play. You're getting a little inch back. You can inch forward.
Right. It's an inch. It's not a thing to dictate a game over.
No,
it's
but
insane.
Tyreek Hill can take off in a full sprint towards the line of scrimmage, and
which
that's
is
fine.
illegal.
They don't find anything wrong with that.
Well, here's the thing about it, Mike. On the same play, Kadarius Toney was offsides by 2 inches. I think Von Miller might have been in the neutral zone as well. And if he wasn't that play, he definitely was on the next play. It should have been a free play on 4th down. They did not call that. And it's the same line judge on the same side of the field. You can see it right freaking there. So you can't tell me that they didn't want to sway the outcome of this game. And I told Pops, man, I went over to Pop's house to watch this game with him. And when I noticed that it was a Carl Cheffers called game, I told him the Chiefs were never going to win. I said, it doesn't matter how good they play or how close this game is. They will not win this game because Carl Cheffers won't allow it. He's always been, a Chief hater.
Look, and Carl Cheffers didn't make the horrible call.
It's his crew.
Yeah. Mike Carr is the one that made that call. You know what he is? Mike Carr. He's not a professional referee. These guys are not professionals because they won't make a decision to make the NFL crews. They need to be professionals. Put them on pay, make them their full-time job. Mike Carr is like an athletic director in the city of Oregon somewhere, or in the state of Oregon somewhere.
He's
for a high
like
school.
A distant relative of Derek Carr.
Dude, I'm going to tell you something. These dudes are clowns, and I'm glad Mahomes.
Absolutely.
I'm glad Mahomes said something, and I'm glad you had to fire him up.
Well,
look, let's hope Petty Mahomes goes scorched earth the rest of the season.
I think they will. I think there's going to be a fire there. Mahomes nailed it when he said a ref trying to dictate an entire outcome of a game over an inch of something that absolutely did not matter and had no effect on the play whatsoever. Took away one of the greatest endings of a game you've ever seen. Travis Kelce made a play, man. And I think it was
play, baby.
And I think it was RG3 who posted on Twitter. And I don't know if we have that tweet or not, Mike, but he says an offsides call erased one of the more creative impromptu plays we have ever seen. A lateral by Travis Kelce on the same day the man who gave us the Music City Miracle, Frank Wycheck, passed away. Instead of that memory, we are left with more officiating inconsistencies. That is 100% correct, dude. They are absolutely butchering their own product. And by them, I mean the NFL allowing the referees to suck.
Steve, why won't the NFL correct this? Why are you not allowed to talk about it? Why are you not allowed to say anything after the game? There's a few reasons. Dude, they want this.
There's a few reasons.
This is what the NFL wants.
I think they do want this because, first of all, I don't care what it is, man. In this life, in this world, if there's that money pumped into anything, that much money pumped into anything, you know how much money the NFL is worth and how much money goes into sports betting and everything else. You can't tell me there's not some corruption. If you think there's not, you're the most naive person in the world. But the thing about it is, man, I'm with you. I think they're just prepping you. They're like, look, we're going to allow these crappy calls because later when we want to dictate the outcome of the playoffs, no one's going to question it. You're right.
We haven't got a call right all year. Why should we get one right when it counts? Hey, Big Red comes out. He says, usually I get a warning before something like this happens. It's a bit embarrassing in the NFL for this to take place. I've been in the league for a long time. Haven't had one like that, said Coach Reed. Steve, everybody's finally seeing it. But again, the casuals and the clowns and the Chief haters, they're all taking their lap. It's funny that when the NFL makes bad calls week to week, the officials suck. Like, let's just all bash them. When it happens to the Chiefs and the Chiefs call it out, it's what we deserve. You guys get all the calls. You're whiners. Shut up. Play the game. You get your laugh emojis. You get all this fun stuff from everybody taking their little victory laps. But what's funny is that it's happened to us. It repeatedly happens to us, and it will happen to you. And when it does, I'm going to laugh about it. And I think it's hilarious. 2 weeks in a row now. 2 weeks in a row, they have dictated a final, what could have been scoring drives or go-ahead touchdowns. Again, last week, we don't know if we would have gotten the end zone, and we don't know if we'd have punched it in for 2.
This week, we were in the lead. And of course, they had a minute left. Buffalo could have very well went down and scored.
Very well. But we'll never get to know.
Exactly. Like Mahomes said, you got to let the players dictate the outcome of this game and not let referees just say who's going to win and who's not, because that's what's happening right now.
But again,
in all honesty,
let's look at what the Chiefs screwed up with. It wouldn't be a Chiefs game without the $80 million right tackle having a false start in the red zone.
Well, of course.
I don't remember if he's in the red zone or not, but he did have a false start.
Hey, to be fair, there were at least 2 plays where Buffalo, both tackles were completely
jumped early. And they didn't call it. I know.
And of course, it wasn't called. So it's just inconsistencies. But before we get more into this game, I just want to say thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. We know it's annoying. The Chiefs have lost 4 of the last 6 games. It's not a good time right now, okay? Everybody's probably a little on edge, and I understand why Patrick Mahomes is the way he is, but I'm glad
supposed to be a magical Christmas season, Steve, and everyone's ruining it.
But I appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button for us if you can. Well, I know you can. Just takes 2 seconds, so go do that. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, we're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before the season's over. It's going to be a close race there, so make sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts or whatever, we appreciate you. Give us a 5-star review, write some kind words on there. Tell people where to find some good Chiefs content with some people that don't hold back, and just tell it how it is.
Right. That's what we're going to do. But look, I'm telling you, you had that play. You've had that play by Jawan Taylor, another false start. You had MVS screwing up again and running the wrong route on something. He also false started. He did have 2 catches, and I'll give it to him. That one catch on the sideline where he got the knee down, that was a good catch. But come on, this dude's making so much money. He should be doing this every week. You shouldn't be making 1 catch all season and having us all gush over it. Like, this should be a common occurrence, bro.
Man, and that was really not that big of a deal. And I'll tell you this, man, a lot of people down on Kadarius Toney saying he lost this another game, this and that. Kadarius Toney dropped the ball today, and Kadarius Toney was lined up offside by a whole 1 or 2 inches. I understand that 100%. But Kadarius Toney also contributed today. Like, when he got the ball in his hands, he's been running hard. He's been playing hard. That kind of mistakes are going to happen. They shouldn't, but they do. It's just a fact of the matter. And I think Kadarius Toney, I don't think this whole game should be put on him, because there was a lot of other things that went wrong as well. And just some things I want to address, Mike. I've been kind of looking at the chat, and I've read on X and things like that. I just want to talk about a couple things. Fire Brett Veach, that's extreme, but he does hold a lot of the blame for this, because
I'll say that.
Outright refused to beef up the wide receiver room, gave Mahomes a bunch of scrubs to work with. You don't do that to your franchise quarterback, i.e. Aaron Rodgers. Now you're seeing frustrated Mahomes. We don't want that. So absolute failure on his part. But fire him? No, you're getting a little extreme. Firing Andy Reid? You're out of your freaking gourd if you think you need to fire Andy Reid. Like, you're just I'm just going to say it. If you think that the Chiefs need to fire Andy Reid, you're an idiot. Just stop talking about football. And then another sentiment, the whole Matt Nagy thing. Dude, it's not Matt Nagy. Get over
that's played out, bro.
Looking for a scapegoat. It's not Matt Nagy. I'm not saying Matt Nagy's doing an incredible job or anything like that, but it's not him, bro.
Can you, though? Because we don't even know what Matt Nagy does.
Right. And then the wide receiver coach, he's been getting a lot of heat. Naturally, he's never done it before. It's his first year. But good Lord, man, I don't think there's any coach out there that could polish up these turds. I really don't. And I don't think you take it all out on him. I think there's a lot of blame to go around. But I think jumping to those extremes are just a little absurd. I think, and it's funny because the same people that are doing that are refusing to say what's actually happening. Excuse me. You got even ex-Chief players like Mitchell Schwartz on Twitter or X. He's out here showing videos of Von Miller jumping offsides on the last play, but telling you how he's not offsides, and you're just looking at it wrong. He's just gaslighting the hell out of you. And I told him straight to his face, like, hey, Mitch, like, we love you, but this is some next level NFL bootlicking right here. Like, shut up. Like, what are we doing? Like, don't justify this garbage.
Yeah. I look, there's been failures all the way around. I think the whole season can look, you know that meme with the guy looking off into space and all these like calculus problems going on?
Yeah.
Dude, that is Chiefs Kingdom this week. All the unicorners
the entire year,
and the rainbowers that won't look at the obvious fact. That's them trying to figure out how to sugarcoat this week, But we've been telling you, this team's kind of stink. They stink this year.
The offense stinks. And I'll say this today. Like,
dude, the defense though.
The defense had some struggles. They had a couple struggles today on some third down plays. Other than that, they played another damn good football game, and our offense is leaving those boys hanging. And I'm telling you, man, like, you're going to let up points when you're putting up these good drives and good stops and everything like that, and your offense is getting you off the field for a total of 90 seconds. Dude, they're not getting any rest. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Chris Jones is also getting frustrated. I don't know who that was. He was yelling out on the sideline that threw their clipboard. I don't know if it's Joe Colin or who.
Was it Colin?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But, I mean, everybody's getting fired up. Everybody's tired of this shit, bro. Like, straight up.
I think everybody's over it.
They are. Dude, it's just.
But look, it's some of their own problems that they've created. It's some of the problems that Veach is. I think everybody's attributed to this pretty much equally. But also, at the same time, you can have a mediocre team than what we're expecting, a mediocre offense. You can have a heck of a defense that is obviously just getting a little tired and beat up this late in the season. And then you can also say officiating cost us, points here and there. And it's all true. It can all be true. That's not an excuse, and that's not whining. That is all true.
Right.
Look, MVS has proven that little press conference he did this past week where he don't want to take any accountability. His ass needs to be gone. If he's
MVS
not
sucks.
the first person
should cut him
cut after
now.
this season, Brett Veach should. I will say fire Veach if he don't get rid of MVS this year.
Like,
that's the one stipulation.
Patrick Mahomes' trainer Bobby Stroop actually posted on Twitter today, and he said, "Hey, it's time for some of these guys to get benched." I quote tweeted that, and I said, "Benched? Let's go with cut." I'd be okay with cutting Marquez Valdez-Scantling today. Like, you're not going to lose anything. He does not make the team any better, and it would not make the team any worse if he wasn't there. It'd actually probably make them better because the less snaps he gets, the better offense runs.
I'm so tired of watching MVS just be so arrogant.
Right. After that arrogant, and then, he had the audacity to yell at PJ for asking him that question.
Ridiculous.
Like, he got on Twitter and was just like, "Hey, I was acting like that because of you and you digging and asking these stupid questions and stuff." Dude, I'm sorry, but if you suck and you're getting paid $11 million a year, a reporter's allowed to ask you, "Hey, what's up with the struggles you're having this season?"
With that kind of arrogance and self-awareness, I do not want his ass in a red and gold uniform anymore.
I don't. Dude,
I'm over the MVS thing. If anybody is still defending him over that stupid Bengals game,
yeah,
I swear you need to go bang your head on a wall a few thousand times and see what happens.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. Like I told you when he first came to the team, and he went to his first press conference, and he said, "If you don't call me Marquez and you call me Marquez, I'm not answering your question." That kind of arrogance right there, it's done nothing but be exacerbated the longer he's been here. He's dumb. I don't like him. He's a bad receiver, and he's a bad look for the Chiefs. Get rid of him.
Right. Bearson says Applebee's literally had 2 catches for 22 today.
Bro,
yeah.
He don't even pull off the Applebee's much anymore, Like,
yeah,
he's
with
like
inflation, this guy's like the McDonald's dollar value menu.
Yeah, this
is what this guy is. You get 2 McChickens, $20. That's what this guy is. He's the McDonald's.
Like I see a lot of Kadarius Toney hate in the chat, and I will agree with you. Kadarius Toney did some boneheaded things today with the drop and with the offsides. I get it, but for the most part, Kadarius Toney had a pretty productive day, and I thought he played hard.
Hey,
here's the thing,
put some
man.
positive on this.
Wait though, can we just allocate all that hate over to MVS? Because at least MVS deserves it.
Deserves it.
Like Kadarius Toney is at least out there trying to do something. Like, come on, dude, this guy sucks.
And I'm pretty sure Kadarius Toney accepted the fact that he screwed it up.
Right.
Sky Moore's accepted the fact that he stunk. Sky Moore ran another bad route today. Another bad route where he didn't.
Moore also ran a lot of routes where he's wide open, not getting looked at too.
Again, but they're not going to. We've already discussed this. It's not. It's
kind of on him for not getting the looks, right? I mean, you've had a bad year.
Yeah. Can we talk about CEH? We didn't miss Pacheco as much as we thought we was. CEH played his ass off.
I thought he played good.
Everybody that's been on him all season talking about how he sucks needs to give him a little bit of an apology, because when he was called on the day to step in a big game in a big situation, he looked pretty good. Now, I'll tell you what, he did exactly what we thought he was going to do. We said he was going to have somewhere around 10 carries for 40 yards, and he had 11 for 39.
I said about 50. I thought he'd be about.
You thought he was going to have the one breakoff run?
He didn't.
His longest run was 7 yards. I didn't attribute the breakoff run to him. I didn't think he still had the speed in the tank. But I will say this: he kind of broke that little screen pass over there, though. So you can kind of give him that.
People missed today. I mean, the thing about it with CH, man, my whole Twitter timeline was just people being like, "Who is this guy? We've never seen him before." Like, did
they forget his entire rookie season?
That's what I said. That was what I put up, man. I'm just like, did you guys completely block out his entire rookie season?
Yeah, CH has been battling injuries, and I think now he's fully healthy. I think it's taken him a little while to get back to health and to trust his health. That's another thing, too.
Right.
You got to remember, once you suffer some injuries, it's a mental game at that point to get it back together. And I think he's finally getting there, because he also added 2 catches, 29 yards. He had a 20-yard catch. Yeah, I thought Clyde did pretty good today. He pretty much had about 70, 80 yards of total offense.
Did you notice that they were lining him up out wide a couple times too? It was strange. Some weird setups today. But no, man, overall though, like the offense did stink at first, but I think as the game progressed, I thought they were getting a little better and we're starting to move the ball a little bit. That's what I was saying. You've seen the people that we said they should be using, like Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, like the obvious stuff, like they were using them and things were working. And then you had people like CEH who were stepping up to the plate. You had Kadarius Toney make a couple good plays. You had guys trying to step up today, and it just wasn't enough. It wasn't. And I still think that the offense had a long way to go for this to be a successful season. But I do think that what happened at the end of this game might be just enough of a fire under that ass that we might.
What we've seen today, in my opinion, is the Chiefs going forward. And this is kind of what we've trying to been sort of what we've been trying to say all year in a nutshell is what we've seen today. The offense isn't overly spectacular. They can't score lots of points when it counts. The defense is solid, but they're going to have moments where they break because they're just a little tired because the offense isn't sustaining drives. The play calling has been wildly inconsistent, although I will say today, Andy got to a good point in the second half where they started going back to what works. Mahomes had a good day today. Mahomes was 271 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 25 for 43. He had a better game than Josh Allen. Josh Allen was 23.
Dimes.
Yeah, 23 for 42, 233, a touchdown and a pick. And look, he had a pretty good game. I think James Cook had a great game on the ground for Buffalo. Steve, you like James Cook. He was one of the Chiefs to draft him a few years ago. I'll say this. This is what the Chiefs are who we thought they were. They're a team that's good. They're a team that can play with everybody. But if they don't get it together for more than one half, they don't have the magic to pull it all out at the end like we're seeing. And they just don't. Today. They're not getting the, what is it?
They did today.
Well, they pulled it out. That's what I said.
And then what happened?
Does Mahomes have any magic left?
Nay. Right. You will not score a touchdown here.
But again,
Kadarius Toney's foot's too big.
Right. But again, this is the same thing. Like, this team's good. This team's not great. This team can play with anybody, but this team can shoot itself in the foot. This team can step over the line by 2 feet with that big old foot they're about to shoot. But I'll tell you this, the officials are going to keep interfering and injecting themselves into games at critical situations, and you just have to outplay that, and you've got to get ahead. And that's one thing we're not being able to do. I don't think our offense has enough firepower to keep us ahead of teams enough that bad call here and there is not affecting it. You're seeing it both ways.
It's two things. Like, they're not putting enough points on the board, and they're also not giving the defense a rest. They're not. They're leaving them out to dry.
This team is one game ahead of Denver now with 4 to go. Denver could very well win out, and I don't think anybody has any faith that the Chiefs are going to win out.
At this rate?
After what we've seen. So look, it's possible we squander the AFC West. And if you squander the AFC West and lose 2 more out of these 4, you may miss the playoffs the way these daggone things are going.
Well, you have to think they have the same record as the Cleveland Browns right now.
Everybody's cluttered at 7 and 8 wins right now. This thing can start going to tiebreakers and all kinds of crap. And you don't want to leave it in the hands of that.
Like, so I'm telling you. We've been saying for 2 weeks that it's time to get it together. It's time to get it together. Like, we've been saying that for 2-3 weeks now. Like, you're getting late in the season. It's time to get it together. There's no more time. Like, if you don't get it together next week and win out, like, you're going to screw yourself royally.
Yeah. You may lose the division. You may squeak out of the playoffs if you don't get it together. Like, look,
could you imagine
you're not getting in the playoffs without 10 wins.
Think about this. It was like week 6, and they were saying that the Chiefs already locked the AFC West.
Right.
Think about that. And now we're in week, 14 or 13? I don't even know anymore.
14.
And we're about to lose it. Like, it's insane.
And if we don't win the division and you put yourself in a wild card situation, there's a lot of competition there and a lot of tiebreakers and a lot of this. And I don't even know if 10 wins will get you in. So the Chiefs are going to they're going to have to get to that 11-12 win mark. So they've got to get it done. And look, what we've seen today, they're very capable of doing it. But we also seen at times today they're very capable of shooting themselves in the foot and losing it. So this team can get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if they get in the playoffs, guess what? They're very capable of winning a Super Bowl. They're also capable of smashing themselves in the face, walking out to the field, and losing by 30 in the first game.
I tell you what, man. I think
you never know what you're getting here.
This is something else that I've said before, but I'm going to say it again because I think there's truth to it. Andy Reid's got to get his house in order. They got to quit with like the little things that they're messing up, and I think they'll be just fine. I think they figured out now to move the ball that they're going to have to utilize Rashee Rice. You're going to have to go to Kelsey whether he's double teamed or not. You know, I think they figured out ways to move the ball. We've seen that in the last couple of weeks. They know how to move the ball. It's just not consistent, right? But what's been the killer? Stupid penalties, bad calls, and things like that. So just clean up all that stuff, and I think they'll be just fine, man. I think they can make a run at it. But here's the thing: we got 94 likes. I want over 100. Hit the like button, please, if you haven't already. And we're gonna go ahead and start taking some questions from you guys in the chat.
Yeah, we've kind of
just been on a rant. So if you've put some questions in there, please feel free to post those again. Put some question marks in front of it. That way we can interact with some of you guys. It's good to see everybody. especially the usuals. I hope you guys are doing good, as good as you can be after a stupid game like that. But it is good to get on here and, have a little bit of cathartic talk. I don't know, a little bit of therapy, if you will, with each other. So appreciate you guys for hitting the like button, you guys that have, and sub if you haven't. Sub. Let's do that.
Right. So look, we're heading into Patriots week. If this isn't an automatic win, there's no such thing as an automatic win.
Right.
So
go out there and squander this. You don't deserve to be in the playoff.
But to look at it, though, we go to New England. That ought to be a win. You've got Vegas at home on Christmas. That should be a win. I'm telling you, if Petty Mahomes stays fired up, those are wins. The Bengals blew out the Colts again today with a backup quarterback. The Bengals are still going to play us tough. I don't care what anybody says. They won't flex that game out. That game is still going to be a primetime 425 game on CBS, and that's still going to be a nail-biter. That's going to be a knockdown drag-out. And then going to the Chargers. The Chargers flat out stink. But against us, they'll miraculously turn into a bunch of Pro Bowlers. You'll see them play the best game of the year. So we've got to get it together. And you got 1 week now with the Patriots and maybe with the Raiders. So you got 2 weeks to try to find it and get it there for the stretch run. For
sure. What's going on, Richie? Good to see you, my man. He says, see, the Chiefs can overcome their own mistakes, but not the refs. That's what's pissing people off. 100%. Like I was saying earlier, Richie, the only way the Chiefs have a shot at this thing is to get out there and actually beat teams' asses and not haul around and have close games. And can they do it? Yes, but the offense has got to be consistent. The defense is playing far and above well enough to be beating teams by double digits. And the offense has got to hold up to their end. That's all there is to it. Moving on. Godly Warrior says, what would you like the Chiefs to do after this game? I want them to correct stupid little simple dumb mistakes, including lining up offsides. False starts and petty holds and stuff like that, which let's not even get started on the holding, because Chris Jones was getting blatantly held all day. And it was disgusting. They finally called it once, but I mean, good Lord.
Look, holding,
it's just unreal.
Bro. Holding is a subjective call that an official makes whenever he feels like he needs to make it.
And we always get it in the red zone, bro.
Right.
Always.
Because that is a call that happens on every play there is holding. You could call it every single play. So the times they do call it, it's just because they wanted to do it. And when does it happen? When they call the defensive holding and gift Buffalo a first down there at the end when Watson. And granted, Watson
was an illegal contact. It was not affecting the play whatsoever. And I think that the offensive guy kind of put him in that situation, was driving him forward in his chest. Terrible call, in my opinion.
But the funny thing is that happened all day, everywhere. But it only happened on third down with under 3 minutes to go or whatever.
Of course,
so that's what I'm saying. They call it when they want to call it. Yep.
Absolutely. Denise, what's up? She says Carl Cheffers had something to say about that call that Mahomes was ticked off. What Carl Cheffers said to Patrick Mahomes is, I'm not going to look at the board and look at the play. I'm not watching the replay.
Right. He knew it was a mistake.
Pointing up, telling him to look, that you're an idiot and Von Miller's just as offsides as Kadarius Toney ever was, and he wouldn't look at it because he didn't care, because that's just
Mahomes was giving Mike Carr an earful on the sidelines. Like, I'm not the greatest lip reader in the world, but he said, we're playing our asses off out here, and you're going to make that effing call at this time. It's unacceptable.
It is.
And look, it's very much unacceptable. And again, you're going to have 90% of everybody that's not a Chief fan coming at you and telling you, they're laughing in your face. They're telling you deserve it.
They can laugh now.
And
they can
do
laugh
what
now.
you want to do.
Because I'm telling you, they've awakened the beast. So they better watch out.
For sure.
My lower back hurts here. I can't relate to anyone's name more than this.
I was going to say, that's the best username that anybody could relate to that I've ever seen in my life.
Especially being old men, old Chiefs fans. We're broken down from the stress and everything else. But anyway, he says, did Tony point to the ref before the play? If he did, it was at the very beginning when we lined up and they didn't show it. Because from what they showed and what you can see, he did not.
We're going to see that on all 22.
We'll see that on all 22. Either way, it's always a warning the first time, especially when it's like a game of inches like that.
Unless it's D Ford.
Right, or Kadarius Toney.
Unless it's a big game at Arrowhead. And guess who miraculously don't get any home field advantage? Considering that we get all the calls.
Right.
Somebody named the Chiefs never gets any calls at home. It's pretty miraculous.
Yep. Edwin, good to see you, my man. He says, what impact will Justin Ross have on this team.
None whatsoever.
It just depends on what they want to do with them, right? Because in my opinion, I think at this point in the season, what you have with MVS, just get MVS's ass out.
Right.
Get him out. Just put him out. I'd rather see Justin Ross with all the, no experience, been out for 7 weeks or whatever, like haven't got hardly any targets this year. I'd rather see him out there running more snaps because MVS is a detriment to your team. He never helps.
You're right. I think Justin Ross should be able to play. I would like to see him have an impact.
Give him a shot.
But the way I see it and the way they are, he probably will have no impact the rest of the way. They probably won't give him 20 snaps the rest of the season. Can we talk about this one?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's talk about Chiefers.
I want to hit Chiefers real quick. How do you feel about Wanye's performance? I think Wanye is playing great, and I think Wanye is as good or better than what you're getting from Donovan Smith, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. Like, he's only going to get better, and maybe, just maybe, we've lucked out and found a guy that can play left tackle for Young on a rookie contract.
That would be nice.
Future. You never know, but, I mean, it's too early to tell. He'll make a mistake now and then, but I expect that. But I mean, overall today, solid game. You have to think he had Von Miller coming at him all day.
Right. If
He's not a joke.
Continues to play at this high level, and you can feel comfortable leaving him at left tackle, you now open up round 1 in the draft for possibly a big playmaker like a wide receiver or another tight end. You do not have to look to offensive linemen. It's not a necessity right there.
Right.
Chief KT said, "Why is Mitchell Schwartz acting like a B?"
Dude, he
that's
always
a great
does.
question.
Man,
I'm going to tell you my theory. You ready for my theory, Steve? Mitchell Schwartz is using Twitter and X as a audition to get a job as an analyst. I think that's what he wants. He wants
I'll tell you right now,
he's got to be impartial. He's got to tell the fans,
he's not even being impartial. He's just being stupid.
Yeah.
And here's my thing about it. I've always liked Mitchell Schwartz. I thought he was a great offensive lineman. I liked him as a Chief, even after the fact. Like, he's always on there, like, cooking and stuff like that. And I thought he seemed like a pretty cool guy. But I'll tell you, the last few weeks, he's got some bad takes, man. He's taking some big L's. And I think the answer to your question, Chief KT, is that he is a B. Okay? Like, it's just the truth. And like I said, I've always liked him. Bitch.
Butt monkey? Oh, we're just gonna come out and say it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what are we on? Is it PG? We're not allowed to say that.
This is YouTube. That's what you can't say anything.
Hey, I don't care. Well, Mitchell Schwartz, buddy, I know you're big and you could eat me in one bite and beat the living crap out of me, but you gotta stop being a B, bro.
Hey, if somebody clips this and sends it to you, we invite you to come on and talk about it. We'll tell you why you're wrong.
Talk about it.
Because I don't care if it was a bad angle. Look, they were showing bad angles.
Was saying some dumb stuff.
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
how many bad angles?
He just went down. He didn't go forward. That was a lie. Stupid. Right when he said it, you saw him go forward. It's like, dude,
what about the same Chris Jones? When Chris Jones jumped and got back and the guy moved earlier in the game.
That was a terrible call.
And by the way, again, how many bad angles did we see the whole time that they just kept wanting to point out Jawan Taylor false starting? Because it's bad angles. But guess what? Nobody cared. They spread those around like wildfire.
Right. What's going on, Kenneth? Good to see you, my man. He says, why do you think we haven't seen any quick crossers this year since week 3? We've seen one. And it was a touchdown to Rashee Rice. I'm pretty sure.
I think they're running them. I seen one today. I seen multiple today, actually. One of them, they ran a quick crosser, and Mahomes had Rashee Rice, and he ended up passing it over to McKinnon and picked up a first down late. It was in the 4th quarter. So they're using it, like Mahomes is just not going to it a lot, but they're running some mesh routes and stuff here and there. If I watch all 22 this week for you, Kenneth, this is what I'll do. I'll try to look at all the plays, and I will actually mark how many times they did run some sort of a mesh quick cross route in the middle of the field for you.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to bring this up real quick. Chief Kelsey, good to see you, buddy. He said, Chiefs are going, it's us versus everyone, going scorched earth the rest of the way. I have the same feeling in my gut, Chief Kelsey. I do. Like, I've had a couple feelings this year, like maybe they're turning the corner, but I was a little skeptical. I'm not right now. I have this gut feeling that they just lit a fire under the wrong team's ass. Like, I think it's this time of the year, and I think it's a perfect. The
funny thing is, though, Steve,
outcome for a crappy game, right?
This is how we've been feeling all year. Just that anger, that pure anger of like always feeling like it's us versus everybody else, and everybody laughing at us, and everybody making fun of us, and every time we lose, it's the world. The world ended, and our dynasty's over, and Mahomes and everybody just taking it. And for the first time today, they matched our intensity and fire. And that's good to see, man. The fans should not be more pissed off than the team that's out there getting it every week.
Man, I'll tell you this. Like as like irritated I was at the end of that game at how it played out, I felt good and I was happy after I saw Mahomes lose his crap on the sideline. Like it made me feel good because I was like, look, it's not just us. They actually care too. Like they see it. They understand. Right. Dude, that's all we wanted. We just want to see that fire, and I think it's going to be there, man. Loving it. Ray, the man, the myth, the legend, Ray. He says, is it me? But Patrick seems not to want to scramble when he has to and just stays in the pocket for too long. I'll tell you, you're slightly right there. I'll tell you what I've seen, Ray. I think today, normally you see Patrick Mahomes trying to get out of the pocket too quickly. And today I saw him step up into some busted pockets that he shouldn't have. Like, it's like, dude, you always want to roll out of the pocket. Why are you stepping up into a collapsed one? Right. And he did that a couple times today. I will say that. But overall, I think Mahomes had a pretty good day.
Right. Early, it was one of the first few drives, maybe the first drive. He just stepped up and ate a sack, and he just wouldn't get rid of the ball.
He did a couple times. Yeah.
But I will say this. I don't know if he's not wanting to scramble or he's almost just doing that thing where, like, look, if I scramble, they're probably going to take a late shot on me, and I don't want to get hit anymore. Like, at some point, you just – whatever. Amani says – I wanted to see this one really quick, but you
Go ahead.
Amani just said the Eagles getting smoked. Holy LMAO.
Dude,
we should have beat the Eagles by –
no joke.
But we should have beat the Eagles by 3 touchdowns if we wouldn't have quit playing in the second half. So there's that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
we're that good if they play. You can go back to your other comment.
For sure. Yeah. KW says, I love your show. You tell it like it is. I'm tired of all the bullshit on X. Dude, I appreciate that. And here's the thing, man. We're not the most popular Chiefs channel on YouTube. We're not the most popular because of what we do say. And it's because we're 100%. We're not out here trying to wave pom-poms. We're not trying to be the biggest Chiefs fans ever and win brownie points with whoever. Like, we're not always positive because this season has not been positive, really. Like, we're going to be real. You're going to get real emotions from us. We're fans first. We always have been. And it's the same way it is. But I appreciate there's people out there that can appreciate that and not be like, man, these guys are not like the rest of them, so we can't like them.
Exactly.
Right.
Don't you get tired of watching the product on the field that you're seeing and then everybody acting as though they're just gaslighting you into another dimension, telling you that what you're seeing is not a failure and that because we've won a Super Bowl over the past few years that you just should suck it up and take it.
Yeah, it's okay to suck right now because we've won.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Fans.
Don't be losers.
Fans are somebody that loves the team, questions things, wants the people to get better, holds the team accountable. There's nothing you can really do. I can't go in there and rage at them myself. But at the same time, it's cheerleaders wave pom-poms. Fans care about games. I did not sign up to cheer for the Chiefs to put a skirt on every week and just love their every move. That's not what we're doing.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. I put it on Twitter too earlier today when the offense was absolutely sucking in the first quarter and a half. I said, at what point do the people in Arrowhead start booing this offense? Because I'll tell you this right now, if a product like that was put on the field in Philly, they would be run off the field.
By the way, these people are paying $400 and $500 a ticket.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the Chiefs fan base, God love you guys. I love every one of you. I love the Chiefs fan base, even though they drive me, batty. But like, at some point, it's okay to be like, hey, you guys are giving us a really shitty product and we're paying a lot of money. Please fix the problems that everyone in America sees right now.
Do you think I had this thought today. Do you think they act like that? Do you think that there's about 75 to 80% of Chiefs fans that are just rainbows and unicorns? You can't say nothing negative. It's all positivity.
A lot. There's a lot of them.
It's the entire everybody gets a ribbon just for showing up generation.
Yeah.
I don't think that they lived through the bad years. They'll say, well, obviously you didn't experience the bad times or you'd be appreciating the good times. No, I did live through the bad times, and that's why
we don't want them back.
That's why I'm wanting them to do crap right, to sustain the good times. I don't want to I'm not in any rush to get back to the Pioli days, bro.
Your window in the NFL is very small, and we have hit the lottery with Patrick Mahomes. Do not squander it.
To my point, is this season needed? Did the Chiefs fans need a reality check that this team's not invincible and they need to get smacked in the mouth every once in a while just so you don't act so oblivious?
I will say 50% of Chiefs fans are still oblivious, bro. So I don't think it needed to happen.
Yeah, they'll be telling us all week how there's no problem.
It just is what it is. Cato, my man, good to see you, bud. He says, do you think this game will make Andy and everyone else start holding each other accountable?
Thanks, man. That's all we want.
I hope. And I think a lot of Patrick Mahomes' frustration they got taken out on the bad call by the refs. I don't think it was all just that. I think it was a culmination of what's happened this year. His GM, even though Patrick Mahomes over his first 5 years, 6 years, took way less money for him to put pieces around him, his GM failed him 100% and said, screw you, I'm not giving you nobody. You're going to have to make the water boy good. Right? So he's dealing with that. He's dealing with, the coaches maybe not holding guys accountable and just a bunch of dumb stuff. Mahomes hasn't played as well this year because of a lot of the things around him. It might not even be his fault. And I think it was just a lot of frustration. And I don't think it was all referees, but I think that was a tipping point. I think when you lose a game over an inch of someone's foot for no apparent reason on a play that 99% of the time they're going to say, hey, Kadarius, you got to back up a little bit, man. Or, you got
to back up just a tiny bit, but we're going to go ahead and erase that entire awesome play.
The game-winning play, potentially, you erased it. Dude, that was a tipping point. And I'm loving it. I'm loving that Patrick's actually showing some fire. Yeah. And I'm loving that him and even Andy had the balls to get on the press conference and stand by it.
This is all we've wanted.
I was afraid they were going to go backpedal at the pressers.
If they would have, lost all faith.
They didn't do it, and I'm so happy they didn't, man. That gives me a little bit of faith in this team.
Right. Chuck says, what else can the coaching staff do to have these guys run routes with separation? We're in week 14, and it's the same issue. Chuck, this is what we've been saying since week 1. Brett Veach did not put a good product on the field with wide receivers.
No.
This is young guys that don't have the experience. They don't know how to break their routes off. They don't know how to run them at enough depth. They don't know how to cut properly. They don't know how to cut fast. They don't know how to do anything that a veteran wide receiver should do. And MVS is just as bad, and he's supposed to be the veteran in the room. But yet this guy don't take any accountability. So when your wide receiver room is led by MVS, who takes zero accountability, zero. He acted like a horse's ass the other day.
100%.
If that's your leader, you failed. Brett Veach failed this wide receiver room. If that guy's the guy that's supposed to help him, or is supposed to help Kadarius Toney get to another level as a receiver, you failed. If that guy's supposed to help Rashee Rice and Sky Moore develop, you failed, because that guy isn't going to do nothing but teach him how to not be accountable and how to be a sorry lame ass and not try.
Right. And I'll say this, man. The only thing that the coaches can do right now is to kind of throw that in his face and be like, you know what? I don't care you're paying $11 million for MVS. He's not getting on the field. We're going to use the guys that actually, have some self-awareness, want to get better, want to win. Even if it's Justin Ross, he hasn't played a lot. Hey, I'd rather stick him out there, man, at this point. I think the coaches do have to make some decisions like that, whether it's pull back on the reins a little bit on MVS and take snaps away, or just sit him. They got to do something.
Right. You got to do something. But look, you're not seeing it. After he makes the big drop, okay, they come back out and they go to him the next week. And again, that should have been a penalty against Green Bay. They come out, they went to him a few times this game, but he's still not seeing a ginormous drop in not production, but in actual snaps. I just don't feel like they're going to go away from him. And to me, that's a fail by the coaching staff to allow somebody that oblivious to keep getting plays. It's, to me, it doesn't. I think it speaks volumes.
Yep. Yeah. Gary Holland, the man. We appreciate you, Gary. Solid as hell, always supporting the channel, moderating everything like that. We appreciate you, my man. He says Mike and Steve, the refs, need to be watched, and if they keep calling bad calls, they should be fired. Yeah, they need to be held accountable, and the NFL's just not going to do it. They've proved to us that they're not going to hold these guys accountable.
Is it crazy?
Hold that thought. While we're back on the refs real quick, because I'll forget what I was getting ready to say, but I have faith that you won't. Can we talk about the Latavius Murray catch?
That was not a catch.
That was unreal that they looked at that and still gave it to him. That just shows you what these refs are doing.
He never had control of that football.
Not
for a second. They said he made 3 steps. Okay, so if the ball's bobbling
the whole time,
and between the ball bobbles from this hand to this hand, if you just do a quick chop step 3 times, you're good.
They got mad at saying Kelsey didn't have control of that ball.
If Kelsey didn't have control of that ball, Latavius Murray didn't even get close to catching it.
Yeah, unreal, dude. Unreal.
Kelsey's was a catch and a fumble.
I don't want you to forget
what it should have been called.
Thinking. I don't want you to forget what you were thinking. Go ahead.
What I was thinking about the whole thing went with Gary's question. Why does the NFL allow refs to be making bad calls week in and week out, and they support it? Look, they want this to happen. There's no other way around it. The NFL is the biggest product in professional sports. I'm pretty sure they're bigger than the NBA. with money.
Yeah,
They
probably.
make more money than any sport in America, probably by far. And they're the only sport to not have professional referees. Are you telling me they can't afford to pay 50 referees so they don't have to have day jobs?
They don't care. It's by design.
They could pay every NFL referee 150 grand, 200 grand a year and pay for all their travel expenses, and it would be a blip on the radar, and then you could hold them accountable. But they don't want that because why? They do as they're told, and they're yes men that, guess what? You'll be going back to your AD position at the high school if you don't call this the way we want you to call it.
It's by design, 100%. Kevin Meek.
1000%.
Kevin, thanks for being here, my man. He says need to see what James can do at wide receiver. I think we saw it today. I think Richie James, he had one bad drop, but I do think Richie James offers you a little bit more than what some of the other guys have so far. At this point, Mike, I want to see 90% of the snaps go to Rashee Rice, Richie James in the slot. Justin Watson is still that not good guy, but he can make a play for you. So I'm not opposed to him being on the field some. I do think you need to sprinkle in Ross when he comes back and just see what he can do if you give him the opportunities. I just think you've got to pull back at this point on MVS 100%, Sky Moore 75%. If you want to put them in there, design some screens to them. They actually designed a screen to MVS. He got 11 yards today. If that was Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore that you're doing that to, you potentially get way more than 11 yards because they're going to make people miss way more than MVS.
Right.
So let's go that route with them and see what we can do. And Richie James in the slot, I think would be good. I think there's some hope there for him. I think we saw a little bit of what he can do today. We'll see what they do going forward.
I'm with you. I think that at this point, Richie James, he was a spark plug today. I liked Richie James today. I mean, I thought he looked good.
He did have one bad drop, but that was it.
Right. I think Richie needs to get a little bit more just to see what you got out of him because he is a one-year guy. Are you going to look at him next year going forward? He produced with Daniel Jones and the Giants. Okay. Something tells me he could produce here if you give him the opportunity. Brian Parrott, he's laughing because he says to say his name. Brian Parrott, I will say your name, and I'll say,
Brian
did you get
Parrott.
your hat? Your hat has been shipped. It was shipped out last Wednesday. You should have got it by today, and if not, you will get it tomorrow or Tuesday.
Bonsai says, when is Pacheco returning? Not for sure yet, but I'm thinking with just a shoulder bruise, probably next week, more than likely.
Yeah, I wouldn't think he misses more than 1 week.
If he misses more than 1 week, then I think there might be a deeper issue than they're letting
Steve,
on
though,
to.
Do you think we won the game if Pacheco plays today, or do you think that we really didn't miss anything?
I will tell you this. I'm a huge proponent of Isaiah Pacheco. I think he brings a spark to the offense that nobody else does.
Right.
I think he's been freaking excellent this year. But I will say this today. That game would have been no different. I think Clyde played pretty admirably. I think Jerick McKinnon played pretty admirably. I think that it wouldn't have been much different with Pacheco. Maybe a little bit. I think he would have kind of ate on that defensive line because they were not defending the run that well. If
Pacheco had been playing, I think his spark. But then again, we've seen him sparking all year long and nobody's stepping up. So, yeah. You don't ever know, but I think Clyde played pretty well today, man. I think Clyde needs to get a little. I mean, he's got so much hate. I think we should all just bite it a little bit and say, "Hey, Clyde had a good game. Props to Clyde."
Yeah, I mean, everybody can admit that. Richie says Andy shut down his presser and left. I'm gonna have to check that out and see the ending. That's great. I'm good. I want them all. It's good to see some emotion come from these guys because they've been like robots. That was another tweet I put out earlier today. Was when they were playing really bad. I was like, man, I cannot wait to see Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes say we got to be better in the press conference after the game.
Right.
And I'll tell you, that tweet got a lot of interaction because people agreed. They're like, dude, we're tired of hearing the same crap every week, man. Guess what? We didn't have to hear that this week. They actually had some emotion. They showed some, they're not robots. They went out there and said something, and I think they're feeling it just like the fans right now.
Right. Hey, I'm glad. Amy Casey. What's up, Amy? She says, Mahomes' girl, Brittany, did an Instagram with MVP over a referee's head, LMAO. You know what's funny? Yeah. And this is the thing. Every week when the Chiefs get a call and then everybody says, the Chiefs won because of it, they can always put the Chiefs and the officials with the Chiefs and say that we pay them off. And then when it goes the other way, nobody's allowed to critique officials. All of a sudden the officials are untouchable and they're great.
Have you ever noticed something? Man. Every time Kadarius Toney is involved in a really awesome, historic play, they would call it back. Remember the Snow Globe?
Snow Globe.
They called it back over a BS holding call on Creed Humphrey, but it was not a hold. And then this one, I mean, come on, man. I understand technically he was offsides by an inch or two, and I get it. But at the same time,
Hey,
when no one else in the league gets called for that ever,
that's what I'm saying.
You know, come on, dude.
That's a lose situation because guess
Yeah,
what?
dumb.
At the end of the day, it's a penalty by technicality, but everybody knows you get a warning and everything else. So that makes Mahomes look like he's a baby
effect.
and a crybaby.
No effect on the play.
Right.
None.
It makes us
Zero.
and everybody that does it look like we're just, sour grapes. And it's like, you just got to know, man. It's just not a good call. It wasn't a good call.
Yep. Amani says, come on, Mike and Steve. Even y'all know, just like the rest of us, it's laugh now and cry later for all the Chiefs haters. I fully believe that right now, Amani. I think actually seeing some fire from this team, from the coach, from the quarterback, and they're actually getting out there and like being a little human, like I said, and showing some emotion. I think that's going to go a long way. I do feel better about this team turning the corner now than I have all season long, because it's like a gut thing. Like when I saw Patrick Mahomes losing his mind at the end of the game, I was like, yes, this is what we freaking need. Like, I know it sucks to lose the game and it sucks the situation we're in, but I was happy in that moment because I was like, thank God, like he finally has lost his mind. All the rest of us have weeks ago, and he's held it together pretty good. Props to Patrick Mahomes. But it's about time that he lost his shit. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Hey, man, I agree. Like I said, haters and idiots are going to be stupid. They're going to be dumb. It doesn't matter, but they're going to cry and they're going to whine and they do what they do. And the funny thing is, it doesn't really matter in hindsight because everybody that cries and whines, guess what? Their team's probably not even going to make the playoffs.
Right. So Eagles fans have been some of the worst, and they're out there getting absolutely toasted.
Denver fans are starting to wake up now. You're having people like frickin' Falcons fans acting like they know what they're talking about. They haven't seen a good football team in 35 years. Like, shut up. Like, who are you?
Man. Yeah, the Chiefs are just a relevant team right now. They've been the most successful team in the last 5 years of football, maybe 6, 7. It just is what it is, man. They have a target on their back from multiple angles. It's not just fans. It's teams. It's referees. It's everybody. Like, I'm still a firm believer that I don't think Goodell and the NFL necessarily care for the middle, the Midwest flyover state being the NFL champions. I just don't think they are. They would much rather it be a New York team, a California team, like a big major market. I think they make more money that way. And I don't think they're a fan of it. And I think that's why they stack the deck.
Yeah. It is because, like I said, they can come out and they can do what they want against the Chiefs, and it doesn't matter because 99% of football fans,
right?
They love it. They love it. And like I said, if you call it out or say anything, you're a whiner, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, go back to your mom's, basement
right.
and
that's one
thing
again. Look, I don't say a lot of positive things about the New England Patriots or Tom Brady or Bill Belichick for that matter, because I think that in many aspects they're just cheaters, right? And they're like the Houston Astros of the NFL. Like, I have no respect for them. But I'll tell you one thing that they did well. They played the villain role well. And they knew everybody was out to get them, and they talked a lot of crap. And they just stood in there and took it to the chin and did what they had to do, whether it was cheat or whatever. But, in our case, I think you have to take a little bit from that. Like, dude, all these people are out to get us. It's time to, we can't just sit here and bend over. It's time to stand up and hit them in the chin. And I think that the Chiefs have to take a page out of their playbook when it comes to that.
Yep, I agree. There's not a lot left to talk about with this game, to be honest. I think the Chiefs played – the offense stunk in the first half. The defense struggled. But I will say I think both sides showed fire and fight in the second half. And again, if the Chiefs just they find a way to dig deep and fill it in their plums a little bit, they need to run the board. I'm telling you,
down in their plums.
We're in trouble if we do not run the board. So we've got to come out and smack the Patriots around. Look, if the Patriots come out and play us tough or beat us, we're in trouble. If the Patriots beat us, this season could be over. That sounds weird, but I think there's truth to that statement.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? They deserve it to be over if you can't beat the Patriots. So here's what I think, man. No matter how bad this deck's stacked against you next week, you got to go out and you got to whoop some ass. You got to pull Stone Cold Steve Austin. Get some Steve Weisers out, open up a can. Whatever. You got to get out there and do it. And that's just all there is to it. Appreciate you guys for the likes. We are up to 124 now. So we got over that 100 mark. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please take a second to do that, even on your way out. But definitely appreciate you guys hanging out and letting us rant and rave and everything else. It's like I said, it's cathartic. It's nice to talk to everybody. Hopefully the Chiefs, hopefully this is the fire they needed. I do have like a good feeling. I think it could be, and maybe we can win this season out and make a splash. And by make a splash, I don't care about a splash. I need it to be the splash. They need to win that Lombardi. That's all that matters.
Right.
It's either it's that or bust. With the Patrick Mahomes prime, it's that or bust. No matter how your GM set you up for the year, it's just all there is to it. I think with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, like you have to go win this thing.
Yeah, I agree. Are they going to do it? We'll see. We're going to see how this team actually responds to this. If they come out and play with some fire and beat the crap out of the Patriots, I'll feel good. If the Patriots play them close and God forbid they beat us, the Chiefs may pack it up for the year.
Yeah.
They may just lay down. I don't want to say that, but it's possible.
We're not doing it. It's not going to happen, bro.
It's
not happening. It's the turning point. It's time for the Chiefs
Let's get
to unload. And let me. I wanted to talk about just one more thing before we're done here tonight, and that is supporting the channel. You can do that through Cash App. You can do that through Venmo, through PayPal. Please check Nightbot in the chat if somebody could put that in the chat to let people know where they can do that. We've almost got through this YouTube timeout. On January 1st, we can resubmit to be monetized. As long as YouTube doesn't completely, absolutely screw us, we should be fine and we can get back to the real world and get back to what we're doing. It won't be a sketch, spotty here and there when we do content, because we'll be able to put more time into it instead of working extra shifts and having off schedules and things like that. So pray that they get their crap together and that we can do that, because we want to do this more. We want to do more content about the Chiefs. We want to hang out with you guys more. So please, if you want to support the channel, go do one of those things, whether it's $1 or whatever. I know it's the holiday season and people don't have a lot of money to go around, especially with inflation being as bad as it is. But anything helps. We're basically poor people. So, anything, we're not going to get mad at you. Also, patreon.com/allchiefedup. It's $10 a month. You get extra bonus content. We just dropped an episode yesterday. That's another way to support. It's just $10 a month and you get the bonus content. So please check that out. And one other way is merch.allchiefedup.com. Get you some sweet swag. Look real fly. Be the best looking at the Christmas party with the new Christmas sweater. And it goes to support the channel as well. So please, if you guys find it in your heart to support us in a time of need, that's how you can do it. And like I said, maybe we can get back on our feet. Until then, please watch our videos, watch our live streams, hit those like buttons, leave some comments, watch our shorts. Literally, they're less than a minute, guys. If you just watch them front to back, it helps us tremendously. So please do that. And Mike, you got anything left for him tonight?
I don't, man. It's been a struggle bus month. It really has.
Yeah.
But hopefully we get it together. We need a good week before Christmas. We need a good Christmas. The Chiefs, you better not screw this up.
For sure. Don't ruin our Christmas. You got to beat the Raiders on Christmas. I'm going to tell everybody out there, this is how you're going to feel better about today.
If they Grinch it up, bro.
If you don't have to go straight to bed right now because you have work tomorrow or something like that. If you do, cool. If not, I want you to go onto Paramount Plus and just stream Daddy's Home 2. It's the greatest, most underrated Christmas movie ever. Watch it. It'll make you happy. Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg and John Cena and Mel Gibson, they're fantastic. Watch it with your family. Get in the Christmas spirit. Have some fun. Because you know what? I'll be damned if the Chiefs don't win out, baby. And we're going to win the Super Bowl. And we're going to beat the crap out of the Raiders on Christmas.
Dang. This guy's going off. Okay. Well, that's all we got for you. You guys have a good one, man. Go Chiefs. That's all I can say.
Cause aside from my soul,